So we're seeing a lot of chaos in the collective right now. We're seeing a lot of things being revealed. We're seeing, all of these things coming to the surface. And in general, there's just like this underlying chaotic sense of things are just falling apart. Like either it's the wars, it's the Epstein files, it's you name it. And this is frankly just the beginning of this year, and the beginning of everything that's coming out. It's very important to stay informed or to be informed of the truth. I'm not talking about the news because the news are obviously just fake, most of them, or just focused on feeding false narratives. I'm talking about being informed of the powers that have been at play. And not to get lost in that, because there's been a lot of distortion happening on this plane. And that distortion has really ruled humans for centuries and centuries, truthfully. It's just that now it's actually coming to the surface. And also, it's kind of reached its escalation point, let's say. And I'd like to make this video to bring up a really important point right now to not lose your center because your most important asset is your energy and your attention. And that's where there's a war on that right now, specifically, because these distorted forces do not have energy, they're soulless, and they want to create chaotic outcomes so that they can feed off your souls. And the only way they can do that is to create it through humans. And so they're trying to feed off or to work off of wounds within humans about past lives, Lemuria, Atlantis, times where we did have apocalyptic events, and they're trying to recreate something similar. So, firstly, be mindful of where you put your energy and attention, and be mindful of what you're feeding, because you don't want to feed timelines that you don't want to experience. So, don't dwell on like all of the apocalyptic things that could happen, because that's just not helpful right now. And also, I think it's so important for us to remember that in essence, these beings are actually quite powerless. Yes, they may have a lot of power right now because they've amassed a lot of energy from humans, but in its core essence, they're powerless. So again, they're getting the power from you. So I want you to remember that you are in fact the powerful one. You're the powerful one, and that's why they're working so hard to get your energy and your intention, okay? And also, I want to bring in just a little bit common subconscious knowledge. One of my beloved teachers is Bob Proctor. Maybe you've heard of him. It was one of the first times I came across subconscious work. And he taught this model that I just will always remember. And what he taught is that, whenever you want to change your reality, you have to change your subconscious um, view on your reality and on yourself. And in the process of doing that, what he teaches is, reading certain goals every single day so that you reprogram your mind to live a different reality. He was really powerful at mind reprogramming. And what Bob Proctor taught is that when you're in the process of changing from an old program to a new program, let's call it from Y to Z, there will be a moment in time where both of these programs exist within your subconscious at once. So you have, before you were Y, now you're trying to bring in Z, and there will be a moment where you are Y Z at the same time. And they're usually conflicting programs, because maybe one program is about poverty and another one is about abundance. And once you're in that moment where you have those two conflicting programs in your mind, that's going to be a really chaotic moment because you have two opposing forces within you, and that's going to feel like chaos to the mind. And that's what he called the terror barrier. And he said that basically right before you're going to break through into the new paradigm, so from Y to Z, there'll be the moment where you have both. And when you break through, then Y is going to fall apart and you'll only have Z left, right? And he said right before that happens is going to be the biggest resistance that you've experienced in your entire journey, because Y is fighting for its life. It wants to stay. The mind doesn't like change. So it's fighting for its life. It's giving its best fight. And emotionally, that's going to feel really uncomfortable. You may have a lot of self-sabotaging behavior. You may have all the old patterns coming up. And he said that is the moment you need to stay the most focused on the new paradigm you're creating. And once you get it past the terror barrier, that's it. And then you're in the new program and the old is gone. But few people get there because it's a very difficult threshold, let's say. And that's why I love one of these sayings that successful people is willing to do what others won't do, what unsuccessful people won't do. And one of those things, the way that I see it, is having the resilience to not falter when the terror barrier comes. And what we really just need to do mainly in that time is like to stay very much in our center, right? To do perhaps the thing that we really don't want to do. And so why am I sharing this? Because I think we're collectively going through this. We actually have two different paradigms coexisting at the same time. We have the people that are stuck in the old way, the 9 to 5, the matrix model, the relying on the system, the externalizing and outsourcing everything, health, money, relationships, love, all of it. And then we have the new paradigm, the people who have found a way to make a living for themselves, the entrepreneurs that live outside of the matrix, the people that are doing the work on themselves to find self-love from within, to heal their bodies from within, and thanks to natural ways of eating. The people that are becoming self-sufficient, growing their own food, the people that are actually learning to source from within. So those are two very different paradigms, and they're coexisting right now. And that's causing chaos. It's causing big chaos. And this chaos is only going to escalate. It's only going to escalate, especially for the rest of this year, okay? Because next year is when we really have to flip over. And so this is such an important time for us that are bringing in the new paradigm to stay in our center, to be calm. And I remember I saw a video from Dolores Cannon that was talking about this and that was saying that, that was talking about these years and these times and saying that the most important thing we can learn is to stay calm when everything seems chaotic. And now I'm finally understanding what it means. It's because we're going through that subconscious reprogramming of the collective. And of course, we'll have that moment of two opposing paradigms at the same time. And the terror barrier is going to come. And the terror barrier might be very obvious on a collective scale. That might look like big catastrophic events or something similar or a lot of resistance. And that is the moment we must stay sovereign. We must stay focused on the future we're creating. Because when the terror barrier comes is the moment you have to focus the most on the goal you're creating so that the goal becomes and the desire for the goal becomes bigger than the discomfort in the moment because the terror barrier is very, very uncomfortable. It really is. So we need a goal that's bigger. And that's an internal job. That's an internal work. We can come together and support each other, of course, and I hope this video is helpful because it can give some explanation to what's happening and what's going to happen so that you might understand why everything seems to be falling apart and super chaos, while at the same time you kind of feel that we're going towards a more beautiful world, which we are. And I see this as a positive sign because it means that heaven on earth is happening. Yes or yes, it's happening. But it's just a matter of how well we navigate this terror barrier. The interesting thing would be because normally with the terror barrier, that's where most people give up actually. So I hope that as a collective, we're gonna stick it through. We're gonna stick it through so that we will ensure that heaven on earth happens. And that's why it's very important for you to find your personal practices, to find your personal community, to do the work on yourself, and come join us for the Heaven on Earth event. I'm making this video today because we did our first call of Heaven on Earth and it was so inspiring. And I got so many downloads and so many insights. And you can still join us. You will get the recording of today. We have our next call tomorrow and the final call Monday next week. And that will give you a lot of tools, a lot of information, a lot of wisdom to navigate these changing times ahead of us. It's exciting because we really are at a threshold where we can create the most beautiful world. And now we have to navigate that terror barrier. And that's where it comes down to the individual becoming sovereign, doing the work in our own lives to create freedom, to stay emotionally, mentally centered, physically centered, spiritually centered in all ways. We have to keep our focus on the beautiful world that we're creating, not on the chaos that's happening, because the chaos is very temporary, okay? The discomfort is temporary. Keep your goal on what you are creating, and then we will get there. So I hope this video was helpful for you. come join us here at the family, subscribe to the channel, and join us for the Heaven on Earth event. I put a link down below so that you can join us. You will get the recordings, even if you cannot be there live, you will get the recordings, okay? And they will be worth everything and more. This will be life-changing. Like already day one is like the value of day one is like 100x the investment, to be honest with you. So it will be so powerful because it's the knowledge that will help you break through that terror barrier and be part of the heaven on earth timeline, which is hopefully what we will create for the entire collective, which is not for sure, right? That's why at least let's create it for ourselves individually, and that's an individual decision that every individual must make for themselves. So, my angels, I hope this video was helpful, and I can't wait to see you in our Heaven on Earth event. And let's do this. Let's create a beautiful world.